Hello and welcome back to my channel, Inside the Performer's Life. Today I'm going to dive in a little deeper into what it's like to work on a cruise ship. There's going to be many parts to this section because there's a lot to unpack when it comes to living on a cruise boat. Yes. My name is Gelsey Laurie and I have been professionally performing for over 20 years. From flying high with Cirque du Soleil to dancing abroad on cruise ships to touring the US with a Broadway show and dancing down Main Street at Disneyland. When it comes to live entertainment, I've done it all. In today's video, I'm going to tell you something about cruise ships called the Filipino Mafia. Yeah, I'm sure maybe if you've worked, I've heard in hospitals they've existed. It kind of sounds like a crazy thing, but it is very much a real thing. You want to be on the in. Now, it's not actually a mafia, but we'll get there. Before I get into what this means, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss on any further content about all this crazy stuff. For those of you who don't know, I worked on Celebrity Cruise Lines for 2 years, completing about 2.5 contracts. Each contract I lived on the ship for 9 months. Well, I did 9 months, then 6 weeks, and then almost a year on the last contract I did. I know, get me the hell off the boat. That's how I felt by the end of it. Now, I did do a video on the general overlook on what it is like to work on a cruise ship, specifically as a dancer. But now we're going to get into a bit of the nitty-gritty. So as I mentioned in that video, I said sometimes it's really hard to find food as a crew member. I know, crazy, right? Because cruise ships, you think just endless food, buffets, like too much food, get the food out of my face. Quite the opposite for crew members. We have very specific crew mess times, and they didn't always correlate the best with my schedule as an entertainer. We would have to perform late nights, and so that meant sleeping in the morning. And that would be missing breakfast. You'd wake up, it's not quite lunchtime, and it's like, I'm so hungry. Now, we were able to go upstairs to the guest buffet, but it was very give or take on whether they let us in or not. If it was a sea day and the buffet's crowded, they would politely, or not politely, a lot of people have like crazy power trips on cruise ships, I will say. So you get someone with not a lot of power in a position to say no, they kind of love it, in my experience. Get turned away, I'd be like, I'm starving. Or, on quite the opposite, very, very late night, we get off shows, might party a little, go down to crew deck, have a good time, and then you're like, you know what I want right now? A cheeseburger. Well, one time, my friends convinced me to go down to deck 00. It is a deck, and that is where the crew bar is. It's way, 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 way down, and it's this dark, seedy bar room. You are allowed to smoke in there. I know you cannot smoke on cruise ships, but that is a place inside the ship that we were allowed to smoke. Personally, I'm not a smoker. I have very sensitive lungs and throat, but it is a heavily diverse crew from many different nationalities, and it is very culturally standard to smoke for most. You would go down to crew bar, and it would just be this loud discotheque music, a cloud of horrible smoke, and just some lights. And you would just see shadows of different crew members lurking in the darkness, drinking away their sorrows of what their life is on a cruise ship. Now, it would definitely take me a lot of convincing to get down there because your hair, first of all, just everything would reek of smoke. And I'd be like, oh, if I had a fake ponytail in from the show and I still had it in, I would have to wash my fake ponytail because it would just, like literally washing my hair was a reason to not go down there. Sometimes people would be like, come to crew bar. And I was like, I want to go to bed and I don't want to have to re-wash my hair because I'm not going to bed with this smoke filled. Yeah, gross. Smoking kills people. But on the rare occasion, I mean, if you wanted to have a crazy good time, that was definitely the place to go. And sometimes they would throw parties for us down there. I remember one time we had an S party, so you dressed up anything that started with S's. Me and a few of the other dancers, of course, came as the Spice Girls. It was much fun. But you are definitely not leaving there anytime before 2 a.m. if you go down to crew bar. That's another reason I didn't like to go down there is I didn't like to stay up that late, but when I went down there, you definitely are staying up till like 4 in the morning. It's just happening. So fast forward one of these nights, I go down there, I go back up to my tiny little cabin, and across the hall from me were 2 of the male dancers shared cabins. And I hear them talking, and I'm like, well, I want to go hang out. And I walk in, and they are eating cheeseburgers. And I'm like, what I would do right now for a cheeseburger after staying up till 4 a.m. and drinking and having fun all night. Luckily, they had an extra, so I got one. But I was like, guys, where the hell did you get a cheeseburger at this hour? And one of them looks up to me and says, I have the number. I was like, the number for what? The Filipino Mafia number. I was like, it's real? It exists? He's like, oh yeah. Basically, this is just having the in to get whatever you want. I'm not saying that there's this power or this, that, but again, heavily diverse crew members. There is a giant population of Filipino crew members. Let me just start by saying the happiest of the crew members. Absolutely love them. And yes, it is true. They love karaoke. We had an upstairs staff bar. There was crew bar, staff bar. Staff bar was a little more calm, never crazy music. We're not allowed to smoke. That's normally where I hung out if I was going to go have a glass of wine. You could play a game, you could talk. It wasn't filled with a cloud of smoke. You could actually see each other. Now, next to that was another room that had like video games, some computers, just kind of, I forget what they called that room. It was that room. But at night, it became the karaoke room, and you would walk in and there would be about 10 Filipino men with about 50 bottles of beer on their table, and they were singing karaoke, and they were just happy there until the night was over. And it made me so happy. They also actually are phenomenal singers. We had a party band who was kind of the one and only go-to live band on our ship. And it was the pool deck, the night atrium, wherever the party was, they were there. And they also were all Filipino. And oh my gosh, I think her name was Cindy was the singer, if I'm not wrong. I mean, I was like, why is this woman not famous and has signed a record? There wasn't anything she couldn't sing. And it always is like very stereotypical that the party bands on cruise ships are all Filipino. They just have these pipes. It's insane. Anyways, my point being, there's a very large population and they're in a lot of different departments. And they are very close-knit. There is this like sense of family and we've got your back between their culture. And I absolutely love that. And it is a very coveted thing to get on the in. And once you get on the in with somebody that lets you in and you have this number, I don't even know where it went to, you start getting connections to a lot of different departments. Now, I don't remember exactly what some of the other departments or ins you might get, be it like some laundry or housekeeping. I can't remember, but the one that we all cared about the most, of course, is food. Especially when it becomes the hours, the late hours where we're starving and there's no food to be had, except maybe down in staff bar you can get like a thing of Pringles. Let me tell you how sick I was of eating Pringles when I was like legit starving. It sucks. But to have that number, to pick it up and be able to get room service, we definitely did not have room service. Now, there are some cruise lines where entertainers or dancers do have a little bit of a higher elevated status than we had, and they do get full guest privileges. I can't remember what cruise line it is. It's very rare that they get guest cabins and or room service. I think some of them, the singers, have that status. And I did say this in my previous video. It is because singers get a better contract altogether. Bigger rooms, higher pay, less duties. It's just a thing. I don't know why. Someone did once tell me that it's because if a dancer messes up, someone might not be looking at them. But if a singer messes up, no matter where they're looking, you hear them. I guess I validate that. I can't really say that I'm behind the whole there's harder training, more training, because I trained my whole life as a dancer. And let me tell you, when you go to as strict as a ballet school as I did, nothing is harder. Like, get out. Get out. But of course, I respect all performers. I think the singers were incredible, but I also think the dancers were just as impeccable. So that is my biased opinion, be it contrary or not. But let's get back to cheeseburgers. Yeah, we did not have room service privileges, like, at all. And for someone to get room service, that was the most coveted things. Luckily, I knew someone that was in, and they were always big partiers, those two dancers, so I could always count on them to 100% be up at least till 4 a.m. and have some food in their cabin. So there was definitely a phase if I was going to stay up late, I kept them close in sight. I also dearly loved them and had so much fun with them, so there is that. But yeah, I was like, I know who I'm hanging out with. They've got Filipino Mafia connections. I'm getting that late night cheeseburger. So it is a very real thing. I've also heard, I have a friend that is in a medical program, and one of his classmates is also Filipino and said it is true in their field as well. He goes, oh yeah, every new location we went, it was just like, before he even went, he had housing, he'd go in, everything was set up, bedding, anything they needed, call. It was just I was like, wait, I know this. It's the Filipino Mafia. We had that on the cruise ships. So it is more just this tight-knit cultural community, which I'm very fond of, but working on cruise ships, the gold to get on the in. I will also say, side note, that we also got the privilege of the Filipino Independence Day parties. My favorite. They would sometimes throw them in the trash rooms. I know it sounds crazy. I think the India Independence Day party was also there, but the big trash location down on deck 0 was a just really large space and square footage that they could put a DJ booth, put some lights, and go, here's your party. I know it sounds really shitty. And it didn't smell the best, but they would obviously remove all the trash. And sometimes some of the best parties were down there. And let me tell you, the Filipino Independence Day parties were lit. I love those. So that is an aspect of working on cruise ships that you might not have known about. Don't worry, and don't worry, no one gets killed or whacked on this mafia job. No, you just get cheeseburgers. Yeah, it's great. And maybe sing a little karaoke. Love it. If you've worked on a cruise ship and have experienced this or had the in on it, let me know in the comments down below. Or if you have something to say about this, like, I had no idea this existed and are you crazy? What the hell are you talking about? Which I know, I definitely am crazy, but drop a comment, drop your questions, drop your response down below. And again, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of these crazy stories. I've got a lot more cruise ship talk coming your way because again, there is just so much to unpack. I'm gonna have to just throw it at you in little spitballs here because, whew, it was a long time ago. I need to remember it all. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.